This is Bob Work. We're on day 19 of our racing career, and we're back with my Eleanor, the Spec Racer Forward, to test some more at Phillip Island circuit. Uh, I don't have a lot of time. I'm working on some personal certifications uh, for networking, so I have to take the 20, 30 minutes I have a day so that I can relax and just unwind and put it into something. There's plenty of series I'd like to try in ice racing. Uh, there's the MX5 Cup, which is the beginner cup. I would love to be able to race there. They're at Okoyama Short this week. Of course, I want to race the Spec Racer Ford. They're here at Phillip Island this week. Let's see. I would love to get into Skip Harbor. I just don't have the time. Like, I literally just don't have the time to get into it. So, you know, um, there's the Advanced MX5 Cup that would be kind of cool to get into. Again, I don't have the time to get into all these series uh, and practice all those tracks because that's the big time investment for me right now. Is I don't know any of these tracks. I don't know any of them. Overcooked turn 1, basically. I know it's not turn 1, but it might as well be turn 1 to me. Yeah, so I don't know any of these series. I'm having to, because of my time constraints, I'm having to spend time on, just one series. Maybe as time goes, I'll have time to, and then I know the tracks better because, that's part of the problem is it takes a while to learn the tracks to the level that I want to learn them. So I don't want to just be like, oh, I kind of know this track, I kind of know this track. I want to be like on an intimate level with each track. So that's part of my problem is that I want to be really good at every track. I don't want to just be good at one track because I spent more time on it. And every series races at different tracks, and I just don't have the time investment to practice hours and hours and hours every week at a track. So we turned a 154.3 yesterday, and I thought that was pretty good. I should have known it was not nearly as good as it needed to be. I was watching a practice session. I think it was a practice session or a race. The There's always like the aliens who are usually like a second faster than a normal field. A second to a second and a half faster than a normal field. And then you know, there's the rest of the field, which is normal. So the alien was turning, 149. And the rest of the field was late 150, 150.8 through 152 basically. So you got to get down into the 152 ish range to really. I don't want to say to race because you could race at any time. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. But for my personal, hey, I feel like I can compete and I can really mess up my I rating because I'll be in the same lap as the leaders, kind of thing. Because that's the goal, is to tank my safety rating by spinning out the leaders every chance I get, because I don't know what I'm doing. Not malicious. I don't mean a malicious way. I just mean because I spin out and take out the fourth place guy. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'd like to be competitive and race too. And I don't feel I could do all the stuff I want to do and be competitive. It's like I would love to spend time learning Nürburgring. That's a magnificent track. I've been watching some of the footage from some of that track, and like the 24 hours of Nürburgring and the endurance series at Nürburgring. I've been watching a lot of footage on that while I've been studying. So it's really cool and interesting, but I just don't have the time. Speaking of not having the time, I should probably focus on what I'm doing here because I'm just running hot laps while I'm talking. But anyway, dang it. I'm not even going to try to make that turn. Need to pay attention. So yeah, I'd like to do all that. I don't have the time right now. So, I think we're just going to keep practicing with this. If I get a few hours on the weekend, maybe I'll practice with the MX-5. I doubt I'm going to try to race the MX-5. I just want to know the tracks. It's like they're doing Okayama Short this week. I would love to learn the track. But but I just don't have the time to learn it to the level where it probably could be competitive, so. Off track? You're off track. Your mom's off track. Yeah, I did cut that a little short. Just a little short. Alright, so we need to get our momentum lines going. And stop running like 20 seconds off the pace. Alright. Alright, so we're braking a little. That's a little too low, I think. We weren't out of control enough, but we were out of control, so there's that. We missed our apex there. Like, I think that's the answer. We just didn't hit the apex correctly. We need to find a good 2.5 seconds. So we gotta do something. You slow down. Alright, we gotta give that back. There we go. That tanked the... Not that that lap was headed anywhere good. But it tanked anything that could have been. At least we're not 20 seconds over this lap. Alright. I think if we get used to dragging the brake there, we could probably perfect that corner. Oh, Spec Racer, I got you. Not that you can't brake, it's just you have to have a really good touch on that brake. Otherwise, you get upset. You do not like to be manhandled. Ah, I got you. There we go, Mr. Spec Racer. I'm speaking your language a little now. Not that you can't brake, it's that you need to drag the brake. Alright. Alright. You're just a finesser. I mean, I knew you were a finesser, but now I realize how finesse you are. I don't have that drag the brake skill down yet. But it's very clear that you need it for this track. There we go. I gotcha. Alright, so let's do some hard braking. We'll come off the brake. Yeah. Not quite there on that one yet. Yeah, that one might just be a hard brake corner. Not everything is the same tactic. I see you there, Spec Racer. We're on the same, you know, we're seeing eye to eye here. I got you. You just like that gentle brake. You don't like the riding crop. You just like to be tickled. I got you. There we go. Yeah. No, you need the ride crop here. Otherwise you'll throw my butt. I'll track my foot. Mom's off track. I feel like I said that recently. Let me come up with some new material. Oh. So I got my racing stand. I probably need to like reorganize my desk and everything and get that in. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. I'm not really sure why I was fooling with the brake there, because that's not a brake turn. Apparently I decided I should brake. So yeah, I should get that brake stand or that driving stand working. My pedals are at an odd angle for me to be like casual braking with these things. Casually over brake there. Clearly that's a skill I'm gonna have to develop. Clearly I don't have it quite down yet. Man. Yeah, shut up. There's two things that I really need to work. Well, there's a lot of things I need to work on. Let's be honest. But staying off those rumple strips, because I mean, they seem to kill some momentum, and of course, racing is all momentum. There could be arguments to be had about that, and I could see either way going on that one, and you'd probably win the argument, but so staying off those curves obviously is the one, and then getting a little bit finer touch on the brake. Anyway, my niece was I put my niece in the chair and had her race for a little while the other day. I guess it was yesterday, and she was doing Okayama Short, which is where the MX-5 was. I just put her down in the MX-5 on that track because, you know, she was just kind of interested. I was kind of, you know, I remember 3 weeks ago, less than 3 weeks ago now, and I was raw rookie and trying to get used to this, and then, you know, 10 days ago roughly when I got my steering wheel and wasn't using a Xbox controller anymore, I remember having to learn all those functions. Yeah, that does not work. No power slides. Well, maybe, but not that way. So anyway, I put her down in front of the, you know, the wheel and let her run a few laps, and she actually was not doing too bad considering. But it's unbelievable how many skills you need to develop, both in the ability to soft touch with your feet, and I mean both of them, and learning all the different turnstiles for the different kinds of turns, and how to handle them, and you know, of course, all the tracks. You know, that just adds another wrinkle of complexity to the whole process. I mean, it's just a large learning curve. You know, and if you're trying to keep up with a series, then not only have you got the large learning curve of the series, you've got the large learning curve of, you know, a new track every week. So too hard on the brakes. Yeah, so you got, like I said, a new track every week, and yeah, it's just a lot, you know. And when it was just the MX-5 Cup, I was like, oh, okay, it's just the MX-5 Cup, you know. Uh, Even with my limited schedule, I could kind of keep up with, you know, sort of kind of learning one track a week. all these different series. There's no way. There we go. That was better. So yeah, I ended up getting to watch the dang it. We're just trying to keep it off the wall now. We came in so hot. Man, I keep talking and not paying attention. I felt like I was sliding the whole way, but that kind of looked like the line that people have been using on this track. I mean, basically they come in wide and they go wide. I'm trying to remember how I came across the story of the 2019 or the Porsche 19 rookies. There's a there was a race some years back. Was it Le Mans? I think it was Le Mans. Anyway, Porsche brought like 2 factory cars, and they brought a third factory car, but it was all rookies, and I'm pretty sure it was Le Mans. Their whole point of being there was just to basically get seat time. They basically just put them in there to you know, they were development drivers. They just put them in there and were like, hey, just get some seat time. Too fast. I tried to apply too much brake. By then it's too late. So anyway, they put these 3 rookies in this car. We're like, hey, just, you know, drive. And I forget the third guy's name. It was Earl Bamber. Oh gosh, man, it was Nick somebody. Tandy, that's who it was, Nick Tandy. And there was a third guy, and I don't remember the third guy's name. But they were just rookies, and their job was just to run around and get some seat time. And the basic premise behind it is they ended up winning the 24-hour Le Mans as rookies. And it was based on driving skill. I mean, Earl Bamber and Nick Tandy are just amazing drivers. There's one segment in that where Earl Bamber he's literally, as a rookie, just out driving the whole field by like a ton. I mean, just, it's insane. And you know, so they win a 24-hour Le Mans as rookies. I believe Earl Bamber has done it again. It's either Earl Bamber or Nick Tandy who have again won Le Mans a second time. Of course, they're now with the primary factory teams. I was watching the 2019 I think it was the 24 Hours of Spa, and Earl Bamber was driving with Thibaut Bernhardt and an Audi driver that just came over by the name of Van Thor, who's supposedly really good too. Man, I feel like we're not making the same mistakes over and over. Maybe we need to focus on the track. Sure, this is going to make publication because we spent a lot of time talking and not a lot of time learning the track. So anyway, yeah, so, and then they also had, you know, Nick Tandy was racing with, I forget who he was racing with, but it was another group of, you know, top-notch drivers. Nick Tandy, man, he was making incredible laps, like, in the closing hours of the 24 Hours of Spa that I just watched. He was literally like the leader in the closing laps. The leader was was running all out, and he was catching him by like 4 to 6 seconds a lap. It was just crazy. I won't tell you what happens. I'm gonna make you go watch it, or you can Google it if you're really that interested. But I think I'm going to pay attention to this and try to do a few good laps for a minute. Let's see, my best lap so far this session is 155.957. It's just slow. I just can't put a lap together. I keep putting fragments of a lap together, but not an actual lap. So anyway, yeah, those rookies, it was amazing to watch. And after having watched Earl Bamber drive, and you know, in that event, and as fast as he was able to drive in that event as a rookie, and then to see Nick Tandy, I understand how they won, because those two are exceptional drivers. Not saying that the people driving with him aren't exceptional drivers, because now I believe, but those two together, yeah, I could see how they won that event. The third guy has had a relatively good career in Formula One, so it's not like he's been, you know, just out there not doing anything. Last I checked, I think it was Formula One. He had raced like, I don't know, almost 200 races, and he hadn't won one, but he was, you know, he was doing well in the sport. But I think it was kind of clear that the two best drivers on, you know, the reason that team won is because Nick Tandy and Earl Bamber were two of the craziest drivers on the track that, you know, that day, as far as picking up time. Alright, so let's try to slow down and hit our apex correctly. So, you know, I don't want to say I'm a fan of them, but I definitely recognize, you know, the amazing alien-like quality of their driving skill. So it's kind of cool to see that. Well, on a similar note, I was watching a video on YouTube, and you know, I don't know, like, Formula One. You know, I don't know all the racing formats for all that kind of, you know, a lot of the overseas racing. Started to learn them because they're very interesting, and there's some very cool people involved in them. But the guy online was battling with a guy named James, and the James guy pulled a dirty move and door slammed him and pushed him off the track and basically killed his race. And on one of the last few laps. And, you know, the guy was leading the race, so you just kind of thought, well, this guy's going to win because he just basically door slammed this whole competition. And there was a guy behind him by the name of Lando Norris who basically was just following in his tracks, just kind of cruising, and, you know, it was so friendly, and, you know, he wasn't trying to make a move, and you just kind of thought, well, maybe these two guys are working together, which is a big no-no in sim racing, because, you know, you're not supposed to be running teams in a non-team event. Of course I'm gonna miss that turn. Why wouldn't I miss that turn? So it just looked like they were running teams, and like the last turn, Lando popped out, went around, and won the race. And I was like, oh, cool. At least that Lando guy won the race. So, you know, it was probably like a week later. I was finally doing some research, you know, into some of the, you know, professional series, and I noticed there's a huge winner on one of the world circuits, and his name is Lando Norris, and he races when he's not racing. Wow. So very interesting to know that that was him. And now I understand how he so easily pulled out and won that race, because he's a professional driver, and he was just getting some seat time. Doesn't get much cooler than that, actually. But I did not realize the guy I was watching was racing with the pro level people. That was kind of cool. But yeah, it's amazing how many of the pros are like, yeah, I race online when I'm not racing, you know. And I started watching the endurance series of Nürburgring from 2020, like episode 1, and they were making fun of e-racing because they're like, yeah, you can e-race and all that stuff, but the real racing is here on this track and all that stuff. And I was just like, yeah, but, you know, I'm never gonna have a chance to race at Nürburgring in real life. It's just not gonna happen. You know, there's a lot of things in life that I'm sure of, and I'm pretty sure that's one of them. I'm just never gonna race at Nürburgring. I don't even really know where the track is in the world. I know it's overseas. I'm very well of the mystique and, you know, all that. And I'm very interested in the track. I just, you know, I know the chances of me actually getting there are slim to none. And if I do ever get there, it'll be because I took a vacation because I wanted to be a spectator at one of the events around there. It's not going to be because I wanted to actually get in a car and race in one of the classes. So, you know. E-racing gives that ability to people. It gives people a chance to do things that, you know, 99.9999% of the people on iRacing are never going to get a chance to do, you know? It's like, I didn't even know Phillip Island existed. Here I am running Phillip Island in a Spec Racer Ford. which I also didn't know really existed, honestly. Yeah. Um, and it's amazing how close, I'm sure the tracks are not exactly the same. I'm sure the drivers, once they'll admit it to you, probably are like, yeah, well, you don't know about this bump in this turn or that turn. And, all the tracks are constantly resurfacing and doing all kinds of other things. So I'm sure, the track's changing, and I doubt there's any way that iRacing can keep up with little nuances like that, but I don't care. Uh, the fact that I've run laps at Nürburgring, I shouldn't say I've run laps because I don't think that's true. I don't think I've successfully done anything at Nürburgring. More likely, I've successfully, gotten a new car a few times rather than running laps. I don't think running laps is probably the correct word, but I, without iRacing, I would have never had a chance to do that. And I mean, honestly, I could never see myself as much as actually I want to. I would love to go see some of these 24-hour endurance races now. I've always kind of been interested in them, but now that I've actually, raced in them, not raced in them, but raced on those tracks, it brings a newer, deeper meaning to the event to me. And to realize how much they have to. I mean, there's 3-4 drivers. They're driving 24 hours, and you can see how many incidents I'm having just trying to get around one lap of this course in this car. This car is obviously not an endurance car. It probably was back in the day. I don't know. I don't know the history enough, but I kind of see, how important it is. And it's funny, I was always a circle track kind of person. I was a big NASCAR fan and circle track, circle track, circle track, and I even was part of several race teams that raced on a local circle track, in the lower divisions, like street stock basically. So I've always been a circle track guy as far as, my interest in my stuff. And one of my home tracks is on here. Like literally a track I grew up miles from. So I've run circle track laps in that on the simulator, but that's the extent of my circle track career on iRacing so far. I'm just not that interested. I will probably get into it at some point. There's some other tracks, I grew up literally miles from Langley Speedway. In fact, I lived right next door to Langley Speedway for probably about 6 or 7 years. There's a trailer park right next to Langley Speedway, and I lived in the trailer park for about 6 or 7 years, not more. So every Saturday night, people are like, "You going to the races?" I'm like, "No, I just open my door because that's what I hear every Saturday night." Yeah, we got too much out of control there. Yeah, every 4th of July, which is our independent state here in the United States, the track would have fireworks, so I'd just go back out on my back porch and sit there and watch the fireworks. So, I'd forgotten that the brake and I were becoming acquainted. We're supposed to be getting on a more familiar basis, so I'm starting to get back into the, oh yeah, the brake and I were getting acquainted mode, and some of this is going better. Now that I've remembered the brake and I are supposed to be getting acquainted. A little bit more time with the brake, I think. You get a better exit transition. But not bad, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, circle track's been part of my life. Like I said, I raced on Langley Speedway in the Enduro Series. I mean, it's not like it was, you know, a big class. The Enduro Series is basically... I can't tell you how many cars they've had on that track at one time, but it seems like they get close to 100, and it's a 3/8 mile track. Yeah, 3/8 mile, I believe. Been a long time. So, you know, nose to tail. People working on the car with me were trying to, like, basically run shorter sway bar links, and we failed inspection the first time going through because they were like, you can't run sway bar links that are an inch tall. And so I was like, hey, just put the stock ones back on and we'll run that. And they tried again to get through with the lower sway bar links. And they came back and they were like, all right, since this is the second time you failed inspection, here's your options. You can either take the sway bar or unhook the sway bar and run that way, or you can not run at all. And I was leaning towards not running at all because you're risking the car. It was my turn to drive though, and I wanted to drive, and the guys were like, no, you'll be fine without the sway bar. And basically they were like, hey, let's get your turn out of the way. If you don't have a sway bar, well, that sucks for you. And I ran about, I'm probably over remembering. I don't want to say exaggerating because I mean that was almost 25 years ago. But yeah, I want to say I ran 40, 50 laps, something like that, and then I was rim riding because no sway bar links you cannot turn down into a quarter. There's just no way. The car just rolls over like a pig. So I was rim riding, and somebody used me as a they weren't exactly going to make the corner, so they made the corner, but it cost me. They basically used me as a bumper, and it worked out for them. It didn't work out for me. And then the way they hit me, it spun me around 360, and I stopped in the, I got stopped in the middle of the track, and the cars were splitting me, so I didn't want to move until I got a free opening, and then somebody lost control and slammed into the front end of the car and tore it up. So that ended my non-sway bar driving days. So, I mean, really, from that perspective, I never really got a good chance to actually drive the car. I don't think they wanted me to, because honestly, I didn't know too much about cars. And they were all much older, and I'm sure were of the assumption they knew much more about cars, and screw that guy, we just want to get him out of the way. Not that I was, If I knew anything about driving, I still don't. I mean, it's obvious from watching me here. You know, I'm just learning. But iRacing has given me that ability to learn that and to go back and run laps. And but anyway, one of the things that I wanted to get to after the long diatribe that I started is that circle track racing has, like, at most, you got Pocono there, which really has 3 turns. I mean, you could say, okay, yeah, so and so's got 4 turns, but really, not really. Dang it! Oh, we finally contacted something. I'm still trying to figure out these turns, as you can tell. But yeah, circle track, like, I mean, yeah, it has a turn 1 and a turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4, but really it's one big turn. Man, I need to focus. Me and recording and stuff is not working out too well. So, as much as I enjoy circle track racing and have been a fan of circle track racing, or was a fan, I kind of gotten away from it. I was a big Bill Elliott fan back in the day. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Uh, yeah, when he was Mr. March, he won all 4 races, NASCAR races in March. March is my birthday month, so I was sure he did it for me, and because I was a little kid, and why else would he win 4 races in March? But I liked him a lot, and I was a big fan of his. And you know, obviously I didn't know him on a personal level, but it seemed like he was a good guy. You know, a good, honest, hardworking role model type. So, uh, you know, I still to this day, consider myself a Bill Elliott fan. I think it's his. I'm not sure if it's son or whatnot, but somebody from his family's racing. But you know, after Bill retired, pretty much you know, I followed. I wasn't a fan of Dale Senior, but I respected the man because he was a hell of a racer, obviously. So I was not a Dale Senior fan, but after what happened, uh, I was coming around to him in the later years. Like I watched him and Junior do the 24 hours of Rolex, you know, 24 hours of Daytona, and I respected the man as a master of his craft. You know, the thing that guy could do in a draft is just a, you know, I see it in his son. I've seen it in his son a few times. You know, he's done some amazing stuff in the draft, and you know, at Daytona and Talladega and a lot of those super speedways. That just, it was amazing, and you could see his son picked up a lot of his ability to see the air, and I saw Dale and Dale Jr. do some crazy stuff in a draft car. But so yeah, I became kind of a Dale Jr. fan after Senior passed away. But I was there was too much expectation on Dale Jr. Honestly, everybody expected him to be his father, and he was a good race. You know, he's a good race car driver, but there was only one Dale Earnhardt Sr. You know, and Junior had a pretty successful career. You know, in NASCAR, but I think for most part, his dad always overshadowed him as far as like his dad's career. Oh, man, I really want to put a lap together. We're building some skills that I need, but I would love to put a lap together. Man. I keep going off here, but I keep going off here because I keep putting, I keep trying to be on the edge every lap. So I feel like I'm starting to get a couple of turns figured out. It's like I'm really starting to get this turn figured out pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect yet. Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job with it. I'm just trying to figure out how to keep most of my momentum in that big sweeping turn. Oh my god, we're off course. Just trying to figure out how to keep momentum in that big swing turn up there. Oh wow, yeah, I think we hit that turn pretty good there. Look at that. Yeah, look at that green bar up there. Green bar means that we're ahead of whatever segment, whatever. At that period of time, we're making ground on whatever our lap was at that time. So if that's red, it's because we're losing time. If it's green, it's because we're gaining time. Granted, that segment was horrible, but I think what I need to do is I need to lay on the brake a little bit here, get down a little bit so that we're not just fully out of control. Probably did a little too much there. Yeah, we lost a couple tenths off our best lap. That's because we need to refine that a little bit. Get on the brakes really hard here, get woed down. Dirt track it. Not really. That was not the intent at all. It was not to dirt track that. Get on the brakes a little bit here to get us woed down and into the turn. And then try to pick up the throttle as early as possible. We messed up that turn, otherwise that lap probably would have been better. All that dirt tracking we did, we only lost 3 seconds on the lap. Even though we were way off in the dirt. Too much brake while trying to turn. Alright, whoa it up. Alright, get into this turn. Oh, that was so nice. Right out on the rumple strips. I felt the momentum of in the steering wheel, obviously. I don't have motion packs or anything. Felt the momentum of the car shift down into the turn and rocket off. Obviously, I didn't feel anything, but, the transition felt there. We're way over time. I need to wrap this up. A couple more laps, but we're starting to get the feel of the track. Starting to get the feel of some of the techniques I need to advance to be a little bit faster. We're getting around that turn, so that's a plus, but yeah, we got some work to do on that turn. Figuring out the right momentum, the right amount of braking to get down to an acceptable level. We missed that turn. We missed the apex. I was going too hard. I braked too hard, and we went too soft, so I touched the gas, and it pushed us past the apex on that turn. So we definitely missed that turn. Alright, whoa it up. Yeah, we were on the brake too long. Once you're on the brake and in the turn, and those wheels start sliding, yeah, once you break grip, it's not fun. Not so much fun. So they used to call it we were slideways. As much fun as slideways seems, yeah, traction is the name of the game, not sliding. Sliding means you're losing time. Which sadly does not compute well in my brain. Oh yeah, this is the part where we were supposed to come off the brake. We were supposed to come off the gas. I didn't come off the gas. I was like, we're going in full balls to the wall. Full down on the accelerator. Full speed ahead. And then I got into that turn. I was like, whoa, doggy. You need to head up, buddy. You can go in there all full pedal, full throttle. What are you on, a suicide mission? Get it woed up. Get around this turn. Oh. Picking up the throttle. Alright, we're getting there. There's so much time we're leaving out here. Like, at the beginning of the practice session, I was like, how are we going to shave off 2.5 to 3 seconds? How are we going to do that? Now I'm like, you seen all the time I'm leaving out here. We can save off 3 seconds. Alright, braking and turning. Not enough braking. Dang it, I really want to get a lap together. We're starting to carry a couple of corners better, so, you know. We're getting there. Unfortunately, we're getting there and I'm out of time, so. Man, I can't believe I spent an hour on this track. I don't have that kind of time. It's you guys. You guys kept me talking. It's your fault. If you haven't noticed with me, I'm happy to blame you all instead of taking responsibility for my own actions. And that is the exact case here. It's all your fault. You kept me talking. You kept me practicing. Ugh. I don't think we got wooed up enough. We are out of control. You, sir, are out of control. Yes, I am. We still made time because our previous attempt at that corner was so horrible. But, yeah, there's a lot of time we left on that table. We probably left 2 to 3 tenths on the table on that turn. Oh, dang it. Dang it. Is there a tariff button? Like Y or something? I know there's a tariff button, I just don't know what it is. I don't really care. I'm a dirty beggar. We'll just keep our dirty face green. Alright, one more lap and then I gotta get back to studying. I can't believe I wasted... Well, not wasted. Wasted is a bad word. Sorry. I can't believe I spent this much time practicing. Man, look at that counter go when I hit that turn right. We were having just a horrible segment and that counter backed off like I don't know. I wasn't watching it totally, but it seemed like it backed off almost a whole half a second when we hit that turn correctly. Man, just think if we actually hit that turn correctly on a good lap. Alright, so this time, we actually need to take our foot off the brake, coast through the corner. We can pick it back up a little here. Let's get wood down a little bit here. We're still out of control, but we're on the edge of out of control. Pick the throttle back up about here. I think we probably could have picked the throttle up a little bit earlier and maybe saved like another tenth or so, but I mean, we're 3/10 in a segment. That's huge. All right, brake hard, brake hard. Brake harder next time. Man. Dang it. I still want to put a lap together. Oh well. We'll build on it next practice session. Let's try to get the rest of these segments together. I mean, that's the way it goes. You start hitting corners, you start hitting corners, you start hitting corners, and then you hit a lap. And then you hit 2 laps, and then you hit 3 laps, and then next thing you know, you're like, how do I ever have a problem hitting these laps? And even when you miss on the laps, you're still running, much faster than you were before. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. That's going to take some practice, but partially because I have a lead foot and stuff like that, but that's my problem, not yours. Alright, so we're going to take one more checkered flag, and then we're going to find us a wall. Because I don't want them repairing this car. I don't know how many laps I've run. I guess we'll see when we look at lap times. Alright, we took the checkered flag. Let's go off course here. Whee! Oh, it wasn't an actual thing. It was just a sign. Man, that's crap. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to wreck next time. Alright, let's get a look at the lap times. A lot of them are going to be off laps. Yeah, let's go back and watch that. That was kind of cool. I'm not going to watch much because I got to get to studying. I only plan to run 30 minutes and I ran a full hour. I'm ending it. I'm done. Whee! So I was like, well, I'm going to hit the sign at least. Right through it. Ah, well. Failed to achieve a better lap and failed to wreck the car sufficiently, but we had fun. We ran an hour. I don't know how we didn't run out of fuel. Yeah, 217. That's an awesome lap. It's gonna be weird. We're gonna be interspersed in here. 155 is not bad. That was probably my fastest lap. Nope, we ran a 155.3 down here. So, we started hitting a couple of laps, but most of it is where we were over pushing that corner. So, that's a lot of over pushing that corner. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good laps. Hey, how do you get better if you're not pushing corners? And that's what practice is for, is to like push the envelope and get better. And I feel like we developed a lot of spec racer skill that we didn't have before, because last track was all out lift in a few corners and brake in one corner, and that was it. So I really didn't learn any actual driving skills for the spec racer Ford. So we're starting to learn some of the nuances and the braking techniques and stuff that worked for this. So good times. We ran 30 laps, 29 laps. All right, well, that's going to be it for this test session. I hope y'all enjoyed me rambling and talking your ear off, and we'll try to do some more test sessions. this week, and then hopefully get a week. Hopefully get our lap times down and get a race in this weekend. For now, Fileborg signing out.